Welcome back, gamers, to the Teen Titans retrospective, going through every episode of the original Teen Titans animated series. This week is the Season 3 finale, so let's take a look at that one. Season 3, Episodes 12 and 13, Titans East. Part 1, written by Marv Wolfman and directed by Alex Soto. Part 2, written by David Slack and directed by Michael Chang. This is the conclusion of the Cyborg Brother Blood arc, two-part finale like usual, and we got Marv Wolfman working on this episode, which is cool. He, of course, was the original writer for the new Teen Titans run that is the base inspiration for this series. He also wrote the first episode featuring Aqualad back in Season 1, Deep 6, and Aqualad shows up again here, so that's pretty cool. Episode opens with Cyborg singing a variation of the Teen Titans theme, but with like lyrics that he's clearly just making up as he goes. It's pretty fun, but also kind of calls into question, like, do the Teen Titans know about their theme song in this universe? I mean, it's possible. There's a behind-the-scenes featurette where they interview Puffy Amiyumi, the band that did the theme, and they talk to them as if like they exist in the same universe. So maybe. Anyways, Cyborg is driving in his car across the country to Steel City to help the formation of Titans East, a spin-off team of recurring Teen Titans characters who are establishing their headquarters on the East Coast in Steel City, another fictional city in the DC universe. It's on the East Coast somewhere. The main Teen Titans live in Jump City on the West Coast, and it's like kind of sort of San Francisco inspired a little bit. I know that it's called Jump City because that's what it says on the wiki, but I can't think of an episode where they actually say that out loud. So I don't know how we know that, but maybe there's an episode and we just haven't got to it yet, or I just missed it and I'm stupid. That's possible. Anyways, we're going to Steel City this week. We learn that Cyborg's helping them to set up and sort of establish this new sort of spin-off team, and we learn that Aqualad and Bumblebee, who we saw back in Wavelength, the previous episode that was focused on this arc, have been tracking Brother Blood, and he seems to be he's up to something in Steel City, so they're setting up shop there. They're going to track him down and figure out how to stop whatever he's planning. And Cyborg is, of course, already invested in the Brother Blood's stuff, so he's down to help out, and that's what's going on. So we meet the members of this sort of spin-off team, Titans East, which has been the name of various different Teen Titans teams in the comics. Sometimes it's like just like a different branch of the Titans. Sometimes it's like an evil team that they have to fight. We do a little bit of that in this too. In this, it's mostly just we're given some of the like side characters that we've been sort of building up a little bit throughout this season, their own like spin-off team. The members of Titans East include Aqualad, who we mentioned already, Bumblebee, who we met in Wavelength a few episodes ago, Speedy, the Green Arrow's sidekick, who we met a while ago in the like tournament arc episode, and two brand new characters, Mas and Manos. These two are interesting because they're actually original characters to the Teen Titans show. Now, they're kind of loosely inspired by Kid Flash as well as the Wonder Twins from the Super Friends cartoon. Their deal is this.
They go really fast, but only when they're touching. And they only speak Spanish.
Hola!
And I love them. I think they're great. One, because I think they're just like fun characters. They're super energetic. They have a lot of personality. They only speak Spanish throughout the whole show. We never get like subtitles. They never translate what they're saying. If you don't speak Spanish, you just have to like figure it out through context, the gist of what they're trying to say. And I kind of love that. I kind of love that they're just like, yeah, this is these characters. We're not going to translate for you. You figure it out if you really want to know what they're saying, but otherwise there's enough going on through context that you get the gist of what they're trying to communicate. I'm trying to remember if the Titans East, like if the other members of that team ever end up learning Spanish, or at least enough to like understand what they're saying. I don't know if they do, which is kind of a dick move on their part, because it does seem that Mas and Manos know a little bit of English, at least enough to like respond to questions and stuff. Anyways, I think it's a really fun dynamic, and I also think their power set is really cool. We're taking kind of ideas from, like I said, Kid Flash, as well as the Wonder Twins. Kid Flash, of course, because they have super speed, but they have the limitation of their powers only being activated while they're touching, which is sort of a like take on the Wonder Twins thing, a different set of teenage twins who have powers. Their deal is that when they touch, they can transform. One of them can transform into an animal, and the other one can transform into a form of water. So like ice or like mist or like whatever. It's kind of vague and like hard to come up with like scenarios where that's like effective. It's parodying the best in Fairly Odd Parents.
Form of a giant shark.
Shape of a bucket of water.
They're kind of lame, and one of them has like a very useful power, and then one of them is like very situational where like only sometimes it's effective. Also, Gopher Mode. Look up Gopher Mode if you want to know more about the Wonder Twins. Kind of an interesting idea, but like not a universally useful power. But with Mas y Menos, you solve two problems. One, the like limitation of the characters having to touch to activate their powers becomes an interesting limitation with having super speed, which is usually a power that like you would just always win every fight because you'd just be way faster than whoever you're coming across. The Flash TV show really struggles with this problem. Like the Flash is so crazily fast and crazily overpowered that like in order to have him lose fights, he either has to like be really stupid and like forget that he can run fast and avoid any attack, or they just have him like face faster and faster other speedster characters that and then in order to defeat them, he just like eventually has to run a little bit faster than he's ever been running before. That problem is like fairly consistent throughout that show, but you don't really have that problem here because there's a built-in limitation of them having to touch. So there's like creative uses of how they're touching. How to defeat them is like figure out a way to split them apart, and then they can't use their powers. I like Mas y Menos a lot. I think they're really cool. I love their power set. It's a great like fresh take on a super speed character that we've seen like a billion variations of. The Cyborg is helping the Titans East put together their own Titans Tower, as well as like sort of help them establish themselves as a team. At first, they don't get along. They're having trouble working together. They go and fight a villain, and through Cyborg's leadership, he's able to kind of lead the team and pull them together and get them to use their powers in ways that complement each other. Like at one point, they do the Ant-Man Hawkeye move, but with Bumblebee and Speedy, where she like shrinks down and then like holds on to one of his arrows and he shoots the arrow and then she rides it. It's that thing. It's the thing. Remember the thing? It's that. So it's going mostly well for the Titans East. However, Cyborg gets a call from Robin. Robin's like, hey, we need you to come back. Professor Chang's just broken out of jail. Remember that guy? We gotta stop him, so we need your help, Cyborg. And Cyborg's like, I don't know. I'm kind of having a good time here. And the Titans East are actually decide that they take a vote and they decide that they want to nominate Cyborg as the leader of the Titans East. So Cyborg now has this opportunity to lead his own team, and he thinks that might be kind of cool. Plus, he's been hanging out with these guys, and they're pretty cool too. But oh no, main plot stuff. Brother Blood shows up and he's attacking the Titans East Tower. He's got this new army of hive-themed cyborg-based robots. They're based on Cyborg's technology, and they look like a robotic cyborg, basically. They actually look a little bit like how Cyborg was almost transformed from a half-robot to a full robot in some of his parts, one of the early Cyborg-focused episodes. So I like that attention to detail, that it's like, this is kind of what Cyborg could have become at one point. So there's a big fight that happens with the Titans. Brother Blood's there. He and Cyborg have a bit of a fight, but Brother Blood ends up getting away. Cyborg is obviously, pretty pissed that this bad guy is using his technology for evil, but the Titans East are able to defeat this army of robots. So the day is saved for now. And part one ends with Cyborg deciding that he is going to stay with the Titans East and become their leader. However, we also learn that while Brother Blood was there, he was able to mind control the other members of the Titans East. So now they're secretly working for Brother Blood. Uh-oh, Spaghetti-O, what's going to happen? I just realized, I don't know if they ever established if Bumblebee had like a way to resist his mind control powers, because he was like mind controlling everyone at the like Hive Academy, and Bumblebee was like one of the ones there, but secretly she was a double agent working to like take him down from within. I don't know if they established how she was able to resist his mind control, because otherwise, like, why didn't he just mind control her to not betray him? I don't know. Maybe I missed something.
And Blood couldn't brainwash you because?
There's not a man alive who can tell me what to do.
Anyways, it doesn't really matter. Robin calls Cyborg and he's like, "Hey, come on, come back to the real Titans." And Cyborg's like, "Actually, I'm good here. I've got my own team now, and this is like an opportunity for me to like grow and become more of a leader and kind of make it on my own." Him and Robin have a bit of an argument, or Robin's like, you can't just leave us after everything we've been through. You're just gonna leave? Like, come on, man. I thought we were friends. But at the same time, you kind of understand Cyborg's point of view. There's a villain who's taken a personal interest in Cyborg, and so Cyborg has invested interest in taking him down. He's with these new friends who like seem to be on the same page as him with the urgency of Brother Blood. And yeah, this is a big chance for Cyborg to kind of grow and show that he also has a lot of leadership qualities. Meanwhile, Brother Blood is still up to bad things. And we find out that he's actually working with Professor Chang. That thing that Robin mentioned. You thought it was a throwaway thing. No, it's actually related to the main plot. I like that. That's good. That's good. Good work. So Professor Chang is here to do this crazy operation on Brother Blood and turn him into a cyborg, just like, well, Cyborg. But he's red, so that you know he's a bad guy, because Cyborg's good, so he's blue. And Brother Blood is bad, so he's red. Also, at this point, Brother Blood unleashes, he activates the mind control or whatever, and the Titans East turn on Cyborg. So the Titans East are bad now, but they're mind controlled, so I won't hold it against them. They capture Cyborg, and Brother Blood has his villain monologue about why he doesn't like Cyborg and all that. Basically, he's sort of become a little bit obsessed with Cyborg because Cyborg's the only person that's been able to resist his like mind control powers, and so he's trying to figure out what it is about him that is able to do that. As we learned back in the first episode of this arc, Cyborg's unique brain being half human and half machine, because his brain was partly mechanical, it allowed him to resist the seemingly magic mind control powers of Brother Blood. So now Brother Blood's like gone weird and crazy with it and has turned himself into a cyborg to try to like understand our boy a little bit better, but he's still not able to control Cyborg, so he's like, I'm gonna dissect you and figure out like what the fuck is going on inside you that allows you to resist. And it's pretty creepy. I could be like way off base here and like reading into things like way too much that is something that is maybe not even really there, but hear me out for a second. This kind of stuff sort of reminds me of Get Out, where the bad guy is like racist, but not the like traditional racist of like white supremacy type racism where it's like you think that you're better than someone else because of how they look, but it's more like the liberal like left-wing racist where it's like a fetish kind of thing where you're like, ooh, black people are like exotic.
Black is in fashion.
It's like that kind of like creepy thing where it's like you're almost jealous of that kind of person, you know? Like in Get Out, like white people are literally putting their brains into black people because they think that like there's something special or unique about black people that makes them better. So it's just weird. There's like a weird jealous thing going on. It's weird and creepy and gross. It's a different type of racism than like traditional white supremacy, but at the same time, it's not. It's the same old shit, right? Like, I think there's almost something kind of like that going on here, where Brother Blood, a weird cultist white guy who's trying to control everyone and like enslave everyone, and then there's this one dude who's different, and he's trying to understand him by becoming more like him. It's like he almost wants to become Cyborg. It's weird and creepy, right? Like, I might be feel free to yell at me in the comments and say that I'm reading into things too much or that I'm like way off base. But that's sort of that was sort of the thing that I thought of this time thinking about this episode.
Like, I don't think it's an accident that the only two black characters in the show are also the only two shown to be resistant to being turned into mindless slaves.
Because, like, Cyborg is obviously way not into the idea of someone else intentionally turning them into a cyborg person. Like, what happened to Cyborg was an accident. We don't go into the specifics of what happened in this show, but traditionally, whatever caused Cyborg to become a cyborg was an accident. He's living with a disability. Like, Cyborg would prefer to not be in his own current body. So, like, it's a real gross perversion of what happened to Cyborg for someone else to, like, intentionally do that to themselves. Obviously, Cyborg has, like, crazy powers, too, because he's a superhero, so he's got, like, arm cannons and stuff. We're getting into, like, you know, sci-fi cyberpunk type things where there is something appealing about having a cool robot arm that shoots lasers. But, like, yeah, from Cyborg's point of view, it's like you're intentionally crippling yourself, like disabling part of your own, getting rid of part of your own humanity. That's gross. I don't like that at all. So I think there is some interesting thematic stuff going on here, even if at the end of the day it is kind of just like, and then Cyborg has to fight the evil Cyborg. But I think there is a little bit more to it than that. So the main Teen Titans, the Titans West, the Titans Classic, they show up, Robin and the gang, and they help Cyborg break free, and they have a fight with the Titans East, who are mind-controlled. What I like about this sequence is that Robin is, like, willing to admit that he was in the wrong and is like, all right, Cyborg, like, this is your mission, you lead us, you tell us what to do. And I appreciate that from Robin. He's willing to, like, admit to his own faults, and he's willing to, like, give up leadership when he knows someone else is more qualified for that specific mission. It's actually, like, qualities that are, like, kind of good to have in a leader, which I think is kind of clever. Not that we're showing that, like, Robin is the true leader, because he's also willing to let other people lead. I don't think it's that. I think it's just, like, that's just who Robin is as a person. He's just good at what he does, and what he does is, like, knowing the strengths of his team members and relying on them. And I think that's cool. So Cyborg takes point. They fight the other Titans, and then Cyborg, of course, has to have a big fight on the rooftop with the bad Cyborg, Brother Blood. But eventually, Brother Blood gets the upper hand, and he starts, like, dismantling Cyborg. He's chopping off limbs. It's pretty fucked up. And he's, like, reaching into Cyborg's chest area where, like, I don't know how much organs he has still, but I'm assuming it might be some. At the very least, he's, like, you know, that's his main mechanical stuff, so, like, you're gonna kill him. Also sort of similar parallels to, like, Get Out, where Brother Blood is trying to, like, dissect Cyborg to, like, get inside him and figure out what, as he says, what makes him tick. Yeah, gross and creepy. I don't like it. And as Brother Blood's, like, taking Cyborg apart, literally piece by piece, he's still not able to mind control him. He's still not able to understand what it is about Cyborg that makes him special, that makes him able to resist. And Cyborg figures out what that is. And as he says, it's his spirit. The human spirit, which can endure all whatevers. Cyborg then gets all glowy and is able to suck up the parts of the other bad cyborgs and make himself whole again, and then he beats the bad guy. I think Beast Boy puts it best.
So, are you like magic now?
Pretty sure that was a one-time deal.
So, I don't know if this idea fully works. Thematically, I think it's fine. We're showing that there's something beyond just the physical body of what makes Cyborg a person. It's not just flesh and blood and metal that makes Cyborg who he is. It's the undefinable human spirit that makes him a whole person. It's not what is physically there. And that sort of, like, X factor, that spirit, allows Cyborg to overcome this foe. His humanity is not defined or limited by his physical body. It goes beyond that. It's why Cyborg was able to push himself past 100%, even though that shouldn't physically be possible. There's something more to him than just what is physically there. So thematically, I like it. But plot and story-wise, it kind of feels like a cop-out. like Cyborg wins because he gets to be magic for like 2 seconds. Yeah, it's okay. It's still dealing with a lot of the same themes that we've talked about in like previous episodes with Cyborg, with identity, with your physical body, what the limitations of you as a person are, what your identity is it based on how you look, what you physically can do, all of those things. It does feel like the natural culmination of Cyborg like fully self-actualizing, and it does work with the end of the episode too, where Cyborg decides to go back with the regular Teen Titans because, you know, we have to have more show, and he realizes that like it's like I didn't need a team of my own to prove that I was like a grown-up or a man or a good leader or whatever. I am enough just as myself, and I already have a group of friends who care about me and will be there for me when it counts the most. So like I already have everything I need. The true Cyborg was the friends we made along the way. It is a little bit that, but at the same time it does like work thematically with what they've been doing with Cyborg, which is, you know, stuff about identity and wrestling with these two sides of himself. Him trying to define himself by what he looks like or what he's physically able to do or which friend group he hangs out with. Or at the end of the day, he really just has to realize that he is a human and that makes him valid. Like, that's basically the arc. But yeah, it does feel a little bit like a cop-out for the villain to be like almost completely killing him, and then he just wins. He just wins because character arc. He just character arcs his way through the plot mattering, which, I don't know. This show is about extreme, like, emotions and subtext. So it doesn't bother me that much, but it feels like they could have still hit that theme while also having a little bit more of a satisfying, like, physical way for Cyborg to win. Cyborg leaves Bumblebee in charge of the Titans East, which is like fine, I guess. They don't really establish or like set up that she would necessarily be good at leading that team. She does kind of have a like second in command sort of vibe when Cyborg is leading them, but only kind of. I like her, and I like her dynamic with Cyborg. I think I just would like to see more of it. That's another thing that's kind of strange about this arc, is that it's only 4 episodes. It's the shortest of any of the main like season-long arcs of the show. So we don't really like get a lot of time spent building up to Titans East being a team. And then even in this 2-parter, only the first part is really like focused on them, and then the second part, they're around, but they're mind controlled and villains kind of for most of it, and then the main real Titans come back for a good chunk of the second part of this episode. So I would have liked to spend a little bit more time with them, or even just like a little bit more time like getting to know some of the other members. Like maybe it would have been kind of cool to have an episode focused on Mas and Manos, for example. Not that I think they're bad here or anything, and I at the same time I like that we just are introducing a new character out of the blue. In a way, I do kind of like the world building of that, of like there's just other characters and other stuff going on that we don't know about. I don't know. There's a reason this is not anyone's like favorite season. I don't think it's bad, but it is a little bit of a mixed bag. Even with Brother Blood as a villain, like I think there is some interesting stuff there, but we really don't spend a whole lot of time with him, enough for it to be like a really interesting relationship between him and Cyborg in the way that we do with like Slade and Robin, or Slade and Tara, or as we'll see next season with Raven and her father Trigon. All that stuff is like really compelling. Cyborg and Brother Blood, there's just not as much to that relationship as I think there could be. A lot of Titans villains and the hero counterpart are either directly related in a familiar sense, or there's like some kind of interesting parental dynamic or mentor dynamic. And they do a little bit of that here with Brother Blood being the like headmaster of the school that Cyborg was infiltrating. And like whenever he shows up again, he's like, oh, my old student, Cyborg. But we didn't really see that much of them interacting as like student and teacher. And it is implied that they were there, that Cyborg was undercover at the school for like a while, but it was just the 1 episode for us, so it didn't feel like it was that long. It doesn't feel like as deep of a connection as like Slade and Robin, for example, where Robin went undercover as Red X for a whole episode and was like trying to work Slade from that angle. And then in the 2-part finale, he ends up getting blackmailed into directly working for Slade. And they have a bunch of scenes together where they interact and stuff. Brother Blood and Cyborg like really don't have that many scenes together, even in the episodes where they do interact. And part of that is just because this arc is only 4 episodes. It's really not that long. Like, I think we spend as much, if not more, episodes building up Silky as a character as we do the Titans East. I think you could also argue that there's something to be said about an arc that doesn't, like, overstay its welcome. It's just 4 episodes. It does what it's set to do, and then it gets out, and then that's it. It doesn't waste your time with any of these main episodes. We just hit all the beats we wanted to hit, and then we're moving on. The season as a whole is sort of a mixed bag. I think there's some really strong episodes in here, and I think there's some episodes that, upon first viewing, didn't think too much of, but then on rewatch, I found that there was actually kind of a lot of interesting thematic stuff going on, like the Beast Boy Werewolf episode, for example. But at the same time, it's also a season with, like, a lot of filler episodes. We got Mad Mod, we got an episode all about Killer Moth, we got a Mumbo magic episode where Raven turns into a bunny. It's just like a bunch of stuff that happens, and like most of it isn't that important. So I don't know. This season is a mixed bag overall. There is definitely good stuff in here, and I do think the core Cyborg episodes are good. They just feel much weaker in comparison to like the Terra stuff, for example, or even the Slade stuff in season 1. I think is really strong as well. And going forward, season 4 especially, but also season 5 has a lot more interesting stuff. We'll get into that next season.
Also, we get 2 more booyahs this episode.
Booyah! Booyah.
But that's it for season 3 of Teen Titans. This episode, pretty good. Season 3, easily the weakest of the seasons of the show. Not to say it's bad, just the other seasons are better. So yeah, we'll be back next time with season 4. So that'll be cool. We got some Raven stuff going on. I'll probably take a quick break between season 3 and 4 because there's some other videos that I also want to try. Plus, we're going to do like a sort of intermission episode about a Teen Titans thing that is related to this, but not the main show. We're going to do the video game. That's what we're doing. So look forward to that. But thank you so much for watching. As always, if you like this, please consider subscribing and check out some of my other videos. It helps me out. Hit the bell if you want to be notified for when I upload new stuff. But that's about it. So, guess we'll see you next time with some more Teen Titans. Bye-bye.
When there's trouble, you know what to do. Call Cyborg, he can shoot a rocket from his shoe. Cause he's Cyborg, doodle doodle, something like that. Oh yeah, na 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 na, big fluffy cat, that's right.